All right, guys, well, welcome to another show day vlog, show weekend vlog. This show's a little different now. It is December 15th, 16th, and it is Florida, so there's literally people swimming in the pool. Got to Orlando good. This is NPC Nationals. It's a two-day show. Today we're checking in. I've got some footage of the girls from the gym today, so we all checked in. We posed, Araja came, and tomorrow the show. Prejudging starts at 10. I expect the girls will be on around 2 or 3 p.m. So I'll take you along for the ride. Welcome to Orlando. We're back at the Hyatt. We've been here, I can't even count how many times. So let's go get some footage. All right, guys, welcome to the video. Here we have Alena Perez training at Iron Religion Gym. This gym has become like a second home to us. I don't know. I've probably been to 10 competitions at the Hyatt in the last 2 years with with everything going on, with shutdowns, with, you know, Florida became kind of a hotbed for shows. Actually, this show, NPC Nationals, which was in December, so forgive me if I missed some things, usually was in Miami, right? And they moved it from Miami to Orlando. There's Rachael and Dilru. But this is the final workout the day before the show. So Nationals is probably the crown jewel of the NPC. NPC Nationals years ago used to be the only way to turn pro. So it's got a big history, right? Like the people that turn pro at this show do very well in the sport. And now that they've moved it to December, it's the last event of the year. I think this was December, like, gosh, 18th. It was late in the year. Thank goodness it was in Orlando, so I could drive over. But yeah, here, the goal for this day, and I say it every time we do these videos, is to get some blood into the muscles. We're not trying to build muscle. We're not trying to get sore. Alena found a hip thrust machine, and the goal is just to make sure the carbs, make sure the sodium, make sure the water is going to our muscles, right? The muscles are really supposed to be filled out. We want them full and round on stage. We want the girls nice, tight, and hard. So I've really been perfecting this linear loading process where we basically walk the carb ups all week. And I don't want to take the day off of training the day before the show. In some circumstances I will, but what I find this allows us to do is just predictably add food. The digestive system gets moving, the body gets moving. You don't want to just sit around when you're bumping up the carbs a bunch, at least in my experience. And also, it's good for confidence. You know, these girls have been prepping for, some of them for months and months. And, you know, a lot of that time you're run down and depleted. Well, at the end of peak week, it's the best you feel, the best you look in a long time. So it's really fun to get in the gym, to get some pictures, get some videos. This is Rachael Sullivan. This is our first competition season together. And we had a nice little run. She's, I think she's only 21 years old. She's a baby. This is Alena Perez. This was, again, our first competition season together. And before this show, she had won an overall Atlantic Coast. This was our first national show. And she's an Orlando resident. She's a Florida girl. So, you know, right in her backyard this year for nationals. So it made a lot of sense. This is Dilru. She's a Gainesville girl. And she and I have done quite a few shows together, won some overalls. Missed her pro card by one spot, I think twice. She's coming second. So at this Iron Religion gym, they also have this fantastic little posing room where we can kind of tinker around with the lights. Now, I'll warn you ahead of time, the lighting is horrible. It does not kind of represent how good everyone looks, which you'll see kind of later on in some posing videos that I post from the room. But the purpose of this room is we're working on the final touches of stage presence before stage, because for a lot of these girls, not Audrey here, who is she missed her pro card by one spot the year prior at Nationals, but for some of these girls, it is the first time they're doing a national show. And if it isn't the first time they're doing a national show, it might be the first time they're doing it right. National shows are run differently than a local show. You've typically got 30 to 40 girls per class, so things happen differently. Group call-outs are different. So we just want to go over things and make sure. And this is Dilru, who's my problem child with posing. She has an incredible shape and structure, but she gets really, I want to say, lazy on stage with her posing. She'll come out and hit the pose perfectly, but as they're, you know, judging the girls across the lineup, I'll notice that she just relaxes too much and doesn't show off her physique. So, you know, a lot of what we're doing here is just reminding them exactly of what they need to do. You know, it's stage posing. It's not going to make or, you know, you can't beat a girl who's got a better physique than you just because you outpose her. But at this level, everyone's bringing a really good physique. So minor adjustments to posing can really highlight how good you are. Speaking of how good you are, this is Rachael Sullivan, who, her posing is fantastic. She's got just a natural grace and flow to her posing. She's still a baby in the sport, and we're going to take this entire 2022 year off to just build and grow. But I mean, look at that shape. Look at the shoulders into the waist. Look at the fullness of the glutes. She's very tall. I'm telling you, you give this girl a couple of years, she's not only going to be a pro, she's going to be, you know, going to the Olympia. She's got all the tools. And here we have Kayla. This was actually really exciting for me because this was, for Kayla and I, our best look of the year. And you definitely want your best look of the year going into the biggest show. So it's always exciting to me to see their hard work on display. And here's Diraja, who is, you know, if she's not the best posing coach in the world, then you can argue with me about it, but she's as good as it gets when it comes to posing, not only for herself, but she is a student of posing. So I love having her at these big events. She's a full-time posing coach. She's a coach for Pro Physique as well, has her own clients. So her time is valuable. So, you know, the fact that we get to do this together in Nationals in Orlando, she lives a couple hours away in Jacksonville. It's wonderful. And this is Alena Perez, Orlando resident. As you can see, I mean, just stunning, top to bottom. Really good muscularity in the shoulders. I mean, you will not find a smaller waist. I think her waist gets right around 20 inches, and she's, you know, she's tall. She's class F. I think the one thing I was worried about with her was just the fullness of her glutes. I think she needs a little more maturity to her glutes, but...
I got tonight.
Yeah, no.
I'll compete. I'll compete. She's not allowed to compete. Not allowed.
She's not eligible.
You already
She's not eligible, man.
She's not eligible.
Wait, did you need
to come with me?
Yeah, so all you need is
You're like, game. Rachel, angle your pose a little bit. There you go.
Yep.
Face front. Where are you looking?
Oh shit.
She's Sandy.
Okay, thank you ladies. We'll see you back for individuals.
So what we had there was check-ins. I just wanted to give you guys a sense of what happens at a show. The day before the show, all the athletes check in. They get their height checked. They get their numbers. At a national show, it's a big deal. And then we did our final posing check-ins, and we actually had the girls line up together so they got used to the idea of being compared in a group, because not everyone is used to that. You know, some of these girls come from shows that didn't have a lot of competitors. And now you can kind of see how everyone looks on show day with a little bit more dramatic lighting. This is Rachael. The weather was beautiful in Florida. It was the middle of December, but we were having like 70 and 80 degree weather. It was sunny out. I mean, really just everything you want if you're going to a show in Florida, right, in December. It was wonderful walking outside to eat and all the things. So got some fun footage. There's Steve in the background, and this is Dilru. Again, very happy with her conditioning. The detail in her hip is coming in. And here's Kayla. Kayla's skin loves the tanning product. I mean, her skin took very well to it. But you can see how it all came together, right? The lighting looks a lot better here. See a little bit more detail in the physiques. You don't have those washing out lights that you saw from the posing room. So you see a little bit more on the conditioning aspect. And again, this is just moments before stage. Well, at least moments before we walked over. It was across the street at the convention center you see in the background there. And this is Alena, who I was very happy with how she peaked. Her core stayed very tight. We were able to get her carbs up nice and high. Muscles were full. You see her shoulders striating there. But again, I mean, if we're just looking at the balance, there's not a lot of depth to her glutes from the top, from the back. And that's what we're trying to work on now. So, yeah, she's got a bright future. All right, guys, we're a couple hours away from getting on stage. We're here in Audrey's room, actually, doing final check-ins. So, without Audrey. So I thought I would show you guys the real competition. What do you got?
I got gloves.
That's creepy. Elena's eating her probably last meal before stage.
Yes.
All right. What are you doing?
I'm just hanging and chilling, watching everybody.
Oh, and here's see, this is how you become a Fitspo.
Yeah. I'm trying to get on your level, Paul.
There you go.
Right? I do have a fanny pack, so. And then Julia.
And Yulia's over here.
I forgot to see Pro Physique one.
Well, so Yulia is
Enjoying cookies with
yeah. She's just staying excited for her next pro show. So, all right. In a few hours, we'll get some stage footage. I think I'm allowed to film there. I'm pretty sure I film at Nationals.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. All right. So that was just us goofing around, keeping the mood light. All the work is done. All the girls' makeup, tan, hair is done. Here you have a little bit of the expo. I wanted to show you a little bit of what Nationals was like since they moved it out of Miami and into the Orlando Convention Center. I mean, lots of room, and the stage was so badass. I mean, I have not seen a stage like this. They did this similar stage. Hey, there's our logo. Yes, we sponsored the show. They did this stage at something similar at Junior Nationals where the girls walked out from the middle. And again, that's actually something that I had to bring up to my competitors. Most competitors are used to walking in from the left or the right, not from the center. So after I saw this, I actually went out and worked with my girls on this. And here is our first competitor of the day. This is Dilru, and she was in Class B, I believe. Yeah, this might have been a small show for me. I mean, not a lot of people want to compete on December 18th. They did move Nationals up this year a couple weeks to earlier December, but it is an awkward time. There's Dilru almost falling. So, yeah, this wasn't our best look. Dilru has, like I said, been, runner-up for her pro card a few times. Here is the backstage area. I mean, Nationals was massive. There was a lot of competitors at this show, so it was cool to just kind of see what backstage looks like, and the girls kind of found a group area to hang out. So now I'm going to show you kind of what happens on the national stage. What they do first is they bring everybody out in groups. So this was Class F, and there is Alena on the right, and I wonder if I have anybody else in this group. So Alena's all the way on the right, 2, 4, 6. So they brought out 7 girls. So this is the groups. Now what the judges are doing here is they're looking everybody front and back before they do their individual routines. And what this allows them to do is just kind of get a sense of how everybody's looking. The judges will say, hey, these girls look good. I want to get another look at them. And then they'll decide if they're in the first call out, the second call out, third call out, and so on. Now, obviously you want to be in the first call out. Those are the girls that they consider the contenders for, placing very highly in the class and potentially winning. And at this show, top 2 in each class get a pro card. So a lot of hard work on display in this video. But that's not something they usually do at smaller shows. So you have to kind of be ready for the group comparisons because it's very important. You want to get into your poses quickly. You want to be compared very quickly. All the way on the left there is Kayla. So yeah, this is just, again, another really good representation of some great athletes. And at this level, these girls are all just fantastic. To compete at the national level, this year you had to be just top 5, but it's going back to top 2 for the 2022 season. So, most of these girls have won their class at a national qualifier, if not won an overall. So it does make the process really fun. And so once all the girls from that class, that was Class F, I believe, did their groups, well, then they do their individuals. Individual routine, again, walking from the back is a bit different. Mostly they're walking across. So it's meant to be a short display, front pose, back pose, front pose, and then walk off. And sometimes the girls will take advantage of it, but most of them are very respectful. They keep it very short. This is just meant to show off your confidence. The judges to get a final look at you and decide which call out they want to put you in. So yeah, it's always, as a coach, this is the nervous time because here comes Kayla, once you've come out in your groups and then once you've come out in your individuals, then they're going to bring everybody out in the diagonals. And again, for those of you guys that don't know me, I'm pretty anxious when I'm at shows. So for me to break out my camera and film, I have to really be conscious of that. I try to do it. I try to be, getting footage, but sometimes I also just want to be in the moment. Sometimes I hire a videographer. For this show, because it was so late in December, I said, I'm just going to bring my camera. So I try to get as much footage of everybody as I could, but I thought it'd be fun to just show you guys what call-outs look like. So here we go. This is Class F first call-outs. So you've got 2, 4, 6, 8 girls up there, right? So that's awesome. So you're in the top 8 at Nationals. Now the exciting thing for me was Alena was not my client last year, and she was in last call-outs at this same show the year before. I didn't know her at the time, and she reached out to me. There's Pro Physique logo. She reached out to me somewhere in the, I want to say, July, August timeframe, and this was December. So we hadn't been working together all that long, but we had made a ton of progress. Now, this is not really what you want to see. But I knew going into the show that Alena wasn't quite complete enough to, unless, the situation was there wasn't like a lot of high-level competitors, but this show is stacked, top to bottom. So they moved Alena out, but this was a huge win in any regard. Just the fact that we went from last call-outs to first, thrilled with that. And, Kayla, I thought could have been in this first call-out, but you know what? She wasn't, so we're going back to the drawing board with her. So I'll go ahead and just keep this call-out going so you guys can get a really good sense of, what the competitors are like at NPC Nationals. There's no argument for me here. At this point, as a coach, you can either get frustrated or you can just look at this as an opportunity to go, okay, what are the girls that are placing higher doing? What have they done? And I'll be honest, if I look at Alena right now, I think she's leaning forward too much. If you look at her front pose, she should be standing taller, and that lower abdomen kind of curves around because she is not standing upright. If you look at the girls in the right of center in the purple suit, I forget her name. She actually won the class and turned pro. But if you look at her core, it's straight up and down. So a lot of this just comes down to lines and shape. And if you look at the glutes here, Alena's denseness at the top of her glutes does not really match her shoulders. She has marvelous shoulders. You won't find better shoulders on a bikini competitor. So with her this year, we're just focusing. This has already been a few months. We're already almost to March, and we've been training glutes 3 days a week to really grow them. Now, this is where the judges are just kind of finalizing their placings. They're moving people around. And as a coach, this is what you're looking for. You're looking for, okay, what are they rewarding? What is it that they're seeing that they want? I've been doing this for a while now, so I'm pretty familiar, but you can always learn. You can always pay attention. Having an eye for, kind of getting into the judges' heads. That's really what my job has become, making sure that I'm putting the girls on stage in a position to be successful. And, so although, we want a better placing, you can't knock anybody on the stage. You just have to say, okay, some of the funnest moments of my career have been moments like this, where you have a girl that, she's knocking on the door of a pro card, and then we come back and then we win a whole show, right? If you think back to last year, someone like Kathy Seitz, who went to nationals and got first call-outs, and then we came back a year later with more muscle, might have been 2 years, and she won an overall at a national show, right? So you can't get bummed when you don't win. If you do, it's probably not the right sport for you. This is just a test of where you're at. And this was, I believe, second call-outs. I think that's Steven's client. I think she might have been a little too lean, or maybe Steven's client's an H. Sorry, it's been since December, so I'm a little off on my recollections here. But yeah, so Kayla's on the end. I think they actually do move Kayla in. So I'm just gonna let this roll and give you guys video. This is our new YouTube channel. This is the Pro Physique Studio channel. So if you're not subscribed, subscribe, because we're gonna be putting seminars, supplement reviews, training examples, all kinds of fun stuff on this page. I was running into the problem with my page where I was not comfortable putting this type of content on there. So yeah, I'm just creating a second page just for the Pro Physique Studio. And man, I swear they moved Kayla in. So she's all the way out there on the left. Let's see what's happening. And here's the other thing. This is second call-outs. This is probably like, 9th through 16th, 17th. They're still judging it very closely. They're taking all the competitors very seriously. And so that's something that you want to see. You want to know that your competitors are getting looked at and compared. And the one thing I'll say is they don't rush. Obviously this is Sandy and Tyler were the head judges, but all the judges, they really take their time. They do not rush this process. So let's see. I don't recall. This is another group comparison. This is Audrey Boehner. So Audrey's in our vertical category. I think she got into G, but she's usually G or H. I can't remember if this is G. This is G. So, and our logo's on the wall there. Very cool. All right, so Audrey's just a pro waiting to happen any day. Let's see from the back. I thought we were a little bit off on conditioning, but Audrey was a little bit behind on conditioning, and we were considering not doing this show, but she made up a ton of ground the last few weeks, and we ended up pulling it off. She looks fantastic. So I was quite certain she would be in first call-outs, especially when I saw the group comparisons of her class. I thought, okay, she's a standout for sure, because that's something else you gotta, focus on as a competitor. You can look amazing, but part of it depends on who's in your class. So again, this is Class G, Audrey Boehner in her individual routine. And what you want to do in this front pose is a nice long 3 to 4 second hold. Make eye contact with all the judges. You want to look at the judges, turn to the back, hit, then hold for 2, 3, 4, and then we're going to transition back to the front. Make one last little bit of eye contact, hold for a split second, and then we're off, right? You don't want to overdo it. You want to give them a good look, show them you're confident, but not overdo it. So, and I believe this is our first call-outs. So again, we got Audrey into the first call-outs, and I was really happy to see her here because, like I said, we were considering not even doing this show. She got third at this show last year, missing her pro card by a spot. And the tough part about that was we ended up not having any more shows to do because it was December last year. So she had a tough year, but came back strong, got into first call-outs. So right now, I think she's in the 5 or 6 position. 1, 2, 3, 4. Can't tell how many girls are on stage. There's 2, 4, 6, 7, 8. There's 8. So she's in the 5 or 6 position, and I believe they move her in. So, this is when the judges are literally looking up and down. All the competitors' numbers need to be facing the judge. So if you look at the numbers on some of the competitors, you can't see them. Now, if you're a judge and you're looking up and you can't see the number, it's a problem. Bikini competitors are allowed to put their button, their number, anywhere on their suit they want. Left hip, right hip, anywhere up and down. Their only goal is to make sure that the judges can see it. Actually, I recognize someone all the way on the right hand of this call out, the right hand side in the teal suit. She's going to be coming up real soon. She won the overall at the Clash All-South Championships. She looked phenomenal. So it's cool to see her. I'm guessing it's her first ever national show, and she's in first call-outs. So obviously that's a really, really good accomplishment. And it's funny, you go to these shows, like I recognize so many of these girls week in and week out. We see them. All right, and this is where they're moving people around. I believe Audrey gets moved. Maybe I'm crazy. So so I'm just going to give you guys an up close look at the shoulders, the fullness, the cores. You can see the girl in the reds kind of moving or posing a little bit. She's not still. One thing you'll notice is that when people are fidgeting, it looks kind of amateurish, right? If you've been practicing your posing, you should be able to just hold this pose. Now, it doesn't mean it doesn't hurt. Lower backs are definitely going to hurt. There's Steven's client. So it wasn't the other young lady. It was this young lady. Her name escapes me, but it's young West African mom. And there's Rachael. This is second call-outs of H. Rachael, so if I'm looking at her, if you just look at the other girls' glutes, they're just fuller. They're just more dense because they have more years of training. She's 21 years old. So what we really want to focus on right now is just letting her grow. She needs time off. If you don't have the muscle, take time off. This is building. It's supposed to be about building muscle. You cannot build a considerable amount of muscle if you're constantly in prep. So, yeah, Rachael and I are going to... Well, she's already been back at it. She's been to the gym a couple times. We've trained a bunch. Yeah, this is Steven's client who looked phenomenal. I don't know what her feedback was. I thought she should have been in first call-outs. You see how she rushed this? She didn't hold her front pose. These are little things to consider. So, actually, we must have been... this is still groups. So this is individual. So what we were just watching was the group comparisons for H. I got a little mixed up there. So, yeah, but I do believe they were both in second call-outs. But again, she's rushing her routine there, which at the national level, it's important. And this is what you'll see. This is a professional routine. Even though this is Rachael's first national show, 1, 2, 3, lots of eye contact. Hold the transition for a second. You want to basically take each shot and pretend it's a photo shoot, right? So you're kind of just like back pose. Look, she took her time to correct her hair and then reset. Yeah, and she's got that nice little twist that she does. So, the exciting thing for me is I get to work with Rachael for the years ahead. So she's going to be a bright one. She's a student of the sport. She loves it. And she's only got upwards to go. So let's see where we're at now. So this is Class H. Let's see where we're at. So yeah, this must be class H second callouts. Yeah, and if you see with Rachael, like her shape, it's as good as anybody's up there. Like hands down. She just needs more muscle. And the only way to get more muscle is time in the gym, time under the bar, eating in a surplus. You don't need to be sloppy, but you need to be eating, you need to be training hard. And once you have that dense tissue, that muscle, then you can compete more frequently. But when you're young, do a couple shows, take some time off. Do a couple shows, take some time off. That's really, and I do like prepping when you're young because you really establish good routine, good habit. You're getting on stage, and the NPC is fun to compete in. Do not rush to get a pro card. Like my goal is not like to get everybody a pro card right away. My goal is to do the NPC shows and let them build themselves up so that by the time they do get a pro card, they are ready to be a pro. Being a pro is quite a responsibility, and the NPC is quite fun. So we're going to switch gears here now. And this is my friend Evan. Evan's really been helping me out with some video editing. We train together occasionally. Actually, we just went to dinner last night. So I met Evan through Aaron Stern. Aaron's actually his fiance. So this was group comparisons for men's physique. And Evan's like 6'2", so I'm guessing this is the tallest class, but look at the conditioning. Look at his lower back compared to the guys next to him. Rear delts, traps, core. I mean, he was just, I thought he was lights out. He looked phenomenal. And I'd seen Evan at a couple shows already this year, so it was really fun to get to see him walk out on the national stage. His tan was flawless, and here comes his posing routine. So again, just like bikini, men's physique is similar. They do groups, then they come out for their individual routine. Kind of similar to bikini, it's only 2 poses. Your front pose, hold it for a few seconds, make eye contact, transition to the back, spread wide, show the lats, the rear delts, the width, hold, and then transition. So Evan's become a very good poser over the years. He's put in a lot of time and effort. When it looks effortless, that's when you know it's been a lot of time and effort put into it. Now, I was a little surprised initially because if you look at these beasts, this is first callouts of Evan's men's physique class. I thought he belonged in here, but again, I'm not a judge. I was just comparing him to what I saw. Now, not to say that any of these guys shouldn't be in first callouts, but I also do feel pretty vindicated because despite the fact that this was first callouts, Evan actually beats some of these guys. So I'll show you what happens. So yeah, so I mean, men's physique, they really like the width, density, a tiny waist is really something that goes a long way because you see there's only 2 poses, and what stands out, I mean, the guy in the middle there has no waist. Now, the guy to his left has a little more fullness in his lats, right? So he has a little more width and V-taper, but, it just depends the specifics of the judging criteria that they're going for. And all these guys look fantastic, but you see some of them could adjust their posing to be better, their conditioning to be better. But overall, I mean, it's hard when you're watching your friend because you tend to focus on them more. I call it coaching goggles. I do the same thing with my clients. So, and then Evan gets moved into the end of the first call out. So they called out a couple of the guys and they brought Evan out. And now Evan gets to stand next to these guys and he really shines. So I think he actually gets moved in here a little bit too. So yeah, just going to highlight my buddy Evan, who is coaching men's physique competitors too. So he's, I think, Evan's going to have a good year this year. He typically, once the season's over, kind of puts it on and takes some time off. And look at that. They move him right to the center. So I don't know what was going on there. They were moving people around, but they end up moving Evan to the center of this call out, right? So he's here with guys from the first call out and he's beating them. So, despite the fact that he wasn't in first call outs, he kept working. He kept putting in the work, kept moving up. And I think he ended up placing 6th. I mean, look at the beef on this stage. These guys are just chiseled and massive. So it's actually fun to watch. Like I'm a big fan of the sport as well. So yeah, I know Evan's been at the drawing board already. He's maintaining a leaner physique than he ever has, and I'm excited to see what he does this year. I know what his shows are. I'm not going to mention him here, but if you follow him on the gram, he might mention it. I don't know. But Evan's been someone that's really been helping me out with this channel. He's been helping me film some content. He's going to be at my seminar tomorrow. He's going to be filming that. He's going to be coming to some of the shows in Orlando, like Clash and Girl Power, filming those for me. So he's going to be kind of like the Pro Physique videographer for the near future. So now we're going to get into some fun. We're going to watch. Now, none of our girls won their class. That was just Raja and Rachel being silly. But I do like to stay and watch the overall. So these are all the class winners from Bikini. And I apologize. I don't know that I know any of their names. But you got A through H, so there's 8 classes. And what they typically do is they take their time with the overall. You know, all these girls are already pro. So you could look at it this way. These girls are in their first pro show because they're all competing against other pros. And something that was actually pretty cool here, and maybe I can find a clip of it. The girl to the left of center in the green was really standing out. Gosh, her name escapes me. And the reason that that's significant is because in Pittsburgh at North Americans, my client Yulia won Class D and got her pro card. Well, this young lady is the one that got second in Class D on that same day. So it was cool. And when I saw her come out, I was like, oh boy, it's going to be tough. And it was between her and Yulia. They were splitting center. But Yulia got the win that day. So to see this young lady holding center of the overall, she's already a pro. You know, I was excited. I was kind of rooting for her in the overall. She had a great look that day. I loved her balance of, you know, her conditioning, her muscularity. She was full, but still hard. And I mean, you know, my son Jace has that white hair. And so I love the white hair. But anyway, she ended up winning the overall. And hope you guys are having a great day. And look for more vlogs coming to the channel soon.